Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Well, good morning where I am, at least. Good afternoon and good evening wherever you might be. Welcome back to A Surge of AI, a live stream today and podcast where we unpack AI as it stands right now with the founders, operators, technical minds building what is, hurtling towards us as an exciting new economy. With me, as always, is my co-host, Pawel from Surge. Pawel, how are you today?
I'm good, Ben. Good to see you, and happy to join the community for another exciting episode. And it's going to be a banger today, I'm sure.
I'm absolutely confident of it. And it's great to be back in 2026, to think it's already nearly halfway through the month. It's a very, very exciting time in the space. Today's conversation sits kind of at the intersection of AI and financial infrastructure. And the future of retail trading too. So we're taking a serious look at how AI is reshaping real businesses with real customers at scale. And joining us is Rakshit Choudhary, CEO of Deriv or Deriv.com, one of the largest multi-asset retail trading platforms in the world, serving millions of customers from across 100 plus countries, 24/7 multilingual infrastructure, real-time execution, all the regulatory compliance and obligations that come with that. I can't even imagine what goes into an operation like that. Rakshit has been at Deriv for over 16 years, rising from quant research to COO to co-CEO and now CEO as of 2025. He's steering the company through the first and what will no doubt be most exciting AI first transformation, and at exactly the moment when the world is asking whether software can make better traders, better products, and better decisions. So, Rakshit, welcome. How are you today, sir?
Thank you, Benjamin. Thanks for the very warm welcome. Hello, Pawel. A very good afternoon to everyone from the warm and sunny Malaysia. So, I'm very good and Happy New Year to all our listeners. As you mentioned, today we'll be talking about AI and how that is going to impact and is already impacting companies, especially in fintech, how it impacts companies like us, how it impacts our users, our clients, and what the future holds. So, yeah, over to you, Ben.
Well, it's a really, really exciting time. I guess before we get into the weeds, it's important to say that this conversation, it's not just about AI in isolation as an LLM or a toy, a novelty layer. This is about AI as a strategic advantage, right? For companies with real users, real revenue, and real operational complexity. And Deriv is undergoing that transformation right now. So with that in mind, just as a level set question for the audience, for those unfamiliar, what is Deriv? Who do you serve? And at what scale are you operating at the moment?
Yeah, so Deriv was founded in 1999. So, you know, we have, we have been there for the past 26 years now. We have grown over the years to be where we are right now with around 1,100 employees, 20 offices, around 14 countries in the world. We have clients from 150 plus countries. We are regulated across different jurisdictions. We have hundreds of thousands of clients on our platforms on a daily basis, right? So for us, when we talk about transitioning to AI, it's very different. The challenge and the magnitude of the challenge is very different from how a startup would start now. It's very different when you are a 3-person team and you want to go full AI, because you can just start with the latest tools. You do not have the same challenges that existing businesses would have, because they need to pivot to this AI first culture. They have to basically have completely change the culture, change the tech stack, change how things have been done for years or decades in companies, right? In cases, I also think we'll all have to unlearn a lot of things that we have learned over the last, throughout our career, right? To be more prepared for this future, right? So that's where we are at Deriv, one of the biggest online trading platforms, as you mentioned before. We take clients from all over the world. And with that scale, we would like to move toward this future where we want to be as agile as a 20-person team, but then to have the scale of an enterprise. and that is our goal.
And uh, I was wondering, from the perspective of you as an individual having the quant background, right?
Yeah,
Understanding AI has been for sure a fascinating journey, right? Because AI is nothing else than massive, fast quantization of data
yeah,
uh, and crunching the numbers. And I'm
yeah.
wondering from the complexity, how you see AI as an individual versus how does Deriv as a business see AI, right? What are the kind of things that you can translate from, your personal perspective? What do you think about this technology to what the organization has to do to implement it at scale? Where are the similarities? Where are the differences? And talk about a little bit about that complexity, if you can.
Yeah, that's a good question. The way I see it is, what we see right now with AI, I don't think we as a species, humans, we have ever seen a technology as as powerful as what we are seeing right now, AI. And then to think about it, that the AI we use today is basically going to be the worst version of AI we would ever be using, because it just keeps improving, right? And that is where we should all stop and just ponder on this a while, because that is exciting and scary at the same time, right?
I
I don't think I've ever been excited about something as much as I am about AI over the last couple of years. In my personal life, for example, I use it all the time. It's always on my phone. I'm always essentially to the point where I it has come to the point where it's always AI first. You go to AI for just to check your thoughts, uh, and we are trying to bring basically the same shift in the company, right? As I said, being an 1100 people person organization, uh, it's a challenge to basically shift the culture from the traditional way of working, where we would like to maybe ideate things, discuss among teams, try it out, fail, and then go back to the drawing board again. And it's a usually in the past the processes have been slow. It has because we are again constrained by basically the tools and our own capacity in terms of what we can do, right? What we are seeing with AI is, if we can set things up right in the right way, we get the speed and also the quality. So we do not have to have a trade-off between speed and quality, which you would have had in the traditional world, right? And so the biggest cultural shift has to be going AI first, in terms of not just how we do things, but in how we think, right? So trying to encourage everyone to basically go to AI before we reach out to a colleague, right? Make sure that we do that research, because AI allows everyone to essentially do a lot more than what they could do before, right? To move an move an idea to a proof of concept stage before they can go to a colleague or their teams for further collaboration or help. And that shift is already happening. We are seeing benefits of that across teams. We For example, in Deriv, we have been promoting this for the last whole year. The entire organization has access to all the latest tools. They have access to all the latest models, and we encourage, of course, on one hand, we have to cater to the existing business, so we have projects which we need for the short term, but at the same time, we do have teams parallelly working on projects which we think would take us forward in the long term in this AI first future, right? So we have to keep this balance of keeping an existing organizations running and also building a company for future. So I always compare this as it's like you're trying to build a new airplane while already being on a plane flying at 35,000 feet, right? So, and that's where this is challenging, because if you're on the ground, it's much easier. But if you're on the plane at that height, you have to, of course, cater to the plane you are on, because if anything that goes wrong on that plane, the future you're building won't exist, right? And I think that is the biggest challenge for the already established companies out there, because they're all like that plane already, you know at flying at full altitude, and now they have to build basically a new new plane for this future, right?
Yeah.
And that's what the challenges are. But we are slowly making progress towards that, and yeah, uh, fairly excited about what the future holds.
Rakshit, what has the board level conversation been like then, in terms, because I guess, and it's happening so quickly. A couple of years ago, people would have seen AI kind of like, an LLM, a chatbot, maybe some customer service elements of it. It maybe was a little bit novel, something that could be useful, and now suddenly it's kind of essential infrastructure. So what has that conversation been like at board level?
Yeah, so to it's it's very much like you could also think of like it goes to the point sometimes as you could either just AI or die as companies, right? Because the future we see a lot of you will end up with a future where there will be AI companies and there will be companies which used to exist, and that's where we are actually very lucky to be fully aligned at the management level, at the board level, as a company towards for the future that we want to build towards, because we really think that the next 12 to 18 months we are going to see massive changes in how companies run, or what kind of companies run. And it's like they used to always say that the top, I think the top 20 of the top 25 companies maybe did not exist 25 years back or 30 years back. I think in 5 years from now, you would say that the top 20 companies did not exist 5 years back, right? And that is the reality that is staring in front of us, and we really want to get into that future. So we are
Yeah.
very aligned in terms of that level. It's like AI or die for the company, right? And the thing that, for example, scares me the most is always a very lean startup of 5 people who use all the latest tech and do not have the constraints or challenges that an existing business has, and they will be able to build fast and they will be able to scale fast, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to get that agility, but then to retain our scale.
Mm. And I've got, I guess, as a follow up then, and Pawel, I'd be really interested in your take on this too. So it's a kind of a question to both of you, but Rakshit, go first. You're obviously running a platform with real time execution, multilingual support, fraud systems, compliance, customer onboarding. So I'm interested in like the immediate feedback you're getting from building your plane from within the plane. Where is AI genuinely better immediately than kind of like human capacity? And where have you found some kind of sticky points where it isn't quite ready yet? It isn't quite what you want it to be.
Yeah. So I'll go first then. From what I see is, to be honest, I think in almost every single aspect, AI today is already much better than you know what we as humans can do. The only place where the only reason why it still lags behind in areas is it's all about the context. It still doesn't have the full context, because AI is still in the software world. It still depends on the online context that we give, what we feed into it, what databases it has access to, right? But I believe in future, when you actually have AI hardwares, when you have those Optimus robots, when you have these Unity robots or these Meta glasses, for example, I do see a future where I will be wearing a Meta glass, which would be seeing and listening to everything I see and listen, and essentially would be having the same context that I have over the
Mm.
span of 24 hours. And then I really don't see what value I would add, because it would have all the context. It definitely would have a higher IQ. It would definitely have access to more knowledge. And yeah, right. So I think right now where it lacks is all about context, and that's where wherever so whatever we work on, we have to make sure that we have to give it as much context as possible to expect it to start delivering the same output. And but yes, that's the gap. Otherwise, I think even now it's already smarter than almost all the humans out there.
Mm. And Pawel, I'm interested in your take on that. Like, where you're obviously working with a number of different businesses, platforms, protocols that are implementing AI as a solution in completely different ways. Like, where are you seeing, obvious, oh my goodness, this is going to absolutely change everything, versus there's a bit of work to do there and it's not quite what we would hope?
So I think that people in the industry understand this, but in many cases outside of the software industry, people don't understand how much of the world is actually run using software and how big of a part it is in our lives, right? In many cases, it operates the door locks on your cars. It operates, sometimes the locks in your offices, in your home, and it, goes. That software goes everywhere, from a coffee maker to the most advanced, satellites or space aircraft, right? And the advancement of this level of automation has allowed very high level of automation in the production of software and the operation of software. So when you see a rocket being caught by chopsticks in midair, right, landing from orbit, this is a success of engineering, but is in an equal manner a success of software. So the advancement of quantization, computation capacity for these algorithms has brought in just completely new use cases. So things that were not possible before. So I think this is where AI has now vastly outpaced humans. Yeah, just yesterday, Anthropic announced that it coded all of its new office co-working suite using AI. 100% of this new product that is competitive to $100 billion products on the market was fully written by AI. So to Rakshit's point, this is the challenge. Anybody that has access to these models can now create equal value. Where it, I think, is still, where it still needs human intervention is, how do you convert that value into actual market access? Yeah. So AI still lacks the planning capability. It still can't set its own goals, and it has to have that human ingenuity and human in the loop component to create value for humans, because it doesn't know yet what is the outcome that we want. So outside of everything that was mentioned, I think that's one of the fascinating gaps that's going to get closed now. So it does tie into the same context, right? So when AI understands what are my goals and my organization goals, this is very important, right? It will be able to start to fulfill actions that benefit me as an individual from my meta glasses, but it will also be able to create actions that benefit my organization from the policies, budgets, the context that the organization has. So that's going to happen, I think, in the very, very near future. And organizations that really adopt this level of use, will outperform their competitors drastically. And I think, you said it correctly. It's a do or die, right? It's the dinosaurs not seeing the comet, coming in, the asteroid coming in. And if you don't act right now and go full in, you face extinction. And I don't think it matters whether you're as big as Goldman or any other company, yeah, or you're a 5-person unit. So I think Deriv is, as I'm listening more and more, I think it's a great example of where you have a top-down decision. This is a do or die situation. And then what does that mean? Yeah, how does that translate? Yeah, it's I think I'm also quite interested to know, what have you tried over the last year or 2 years, and that that for sure is not a good idea. And I think people will be fascinated always to hear, what are the things that don't work, yeah, inside the organization when you try to implement AI. What fails as much as that is successful, right? So I would love to know What are the lessons learned over the last 12 months that you have that you can share with the community and with the people listening?
Yeah, I think we're learning every day. So basically, every day teaches us a new lesson in this, because you're trying to build for something which has not been done before, right? So it started from the early days where we tried. I believe it was the end of 2024 when we wanted to use AI to start generating end-to-end code, and we thought, let's just go with prompting and giving it all the context and expect it to generate code. And we failed miserably. We spent 2 3 months. We actually did a lot of good work, but back then, it was, in hindsight, you realize the models were not ready for that. While now you can go to Claude Code, and just as you said, they built the entire Anthropic built the entire Claude Work tool, which was launched yesterday, just entirely using Claude Code. Right? We tried to do something similar around 14 months back, and we failed. Right? Then in a lot of other things, we realized a lot of it came down to context size. It came down to cost, because a lot of what you want to do, you realize the models were very expensive and the cost did not make sense. But a lot of those ideas just worked seamlessly after 6 months, just because the models improved, and then the cost and the context size thing fixed itself, right? And the other one of the most difficult things, especially in AI, is what you might be working very hard trying to build something for the last 1 month, but a new model release next week just makes it very obsolete, and suddenly you realize what a waste, right? And but it's also about not thinking like that, because it's one thing, one way, one view could be, let's wait on the sidelines, let's wait for the models to stabilize before we get into something. But this train is not stopping for anyone. You have to be basically run and try to be on board, keep building, keep learning, and whenever there's an opportunity to pivot, that's where the business has to pivot, right? So that's also one learning, which is we continue doing this, and as we learn, as we see an opportunity, we take that, we pivot in that direction. And the uh, the last point from my side, we also realize that we should be building for what we think is possible 6 months from now, because often if we start a project and if we constrain our own thinking by what the models and do now, uh, we are actually not doing justice, because as you build on something, the models improve, and your projects are no longer that good or that exciting. So I would suggest think about building for what you think is possible 6 months from now, right? So a lot of it might not work now, but as we move towards that completion of the project, things will start to work out. So a lot of these things we have learned, of course, over the last 14 months, 15 months. We've had a lot of failures, we have had a lot of success. But again, I won't say failures, because with AI, whatever fails, you just learn, right? You
Yeah.
learn how not to do something in future, or for example, you learn which are the best model for a particular task, right? So it's very important to have that understanding, and it's very important to have that. You need to be someone very willing to, you know you uh, you cannot bring your ego into this, because you know you are working with something which is smarter than you, right? So I'll leave your ego aside. uh, Submit it to the power of AI. You have to be very curious, you have to be willing to learn, adapt, be flexible, and just stay aware, because there's so much happening out there. It's like, if I'm traveling, and if I'm not online for 24 hours, and I come online and see, I just go to YouTube or Twitter, and I see all the kind of discussions, and I realize, whoa, it's as if I've been out for like 6 months, right? So there's a lot going on, and
Rakshit,
that's another thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm trying to put myself in your shoes a little bit here, actually, because you step into the complete CEO role while this generational technology shift is happening.
yeah.
Can you walk us through a little bit more of the transformation in terms of like what were your first steps? Like who did you empower? Like what kind of a team are you building around this? What has changed structurally within your organization to enable you to kind of deploy all of this new and exciting software and kind of gather the right feedbacks and make sure that everyone's briefed appropriately? Because it must be a huge operation going on at your end.
Yeah, it is. It has been a big challenge for the entire organization to basically transition towards this. Uh, as we work towards this future. So from our side, what we also realize is we also need to bring in the right kind of talent, right? And that's where I think around 7 8 months back we started aggressively hiring for AI developers. So across our different office locations, we have already hired 100+ developers, and we continue to hire AI developers across different locations. Right? We think we need to bring the right talent pool in the company, because when they come in, they come with the right kind of mindset. They start having the right discussions. That also helps change the internal culture in the company, right? So when the new hires, when they talk about RAG, or when they talk about the latest AI tools, or when they come up with a solution, and when they build something and they show it to the existing teams of how something can actually benefit that teams, right? You have that team onboarded into the idea. So one of the one of the first changes we did was to kickstart this hiring spree for AI engineers, because we also see a world where hiring AI engineers is going to get more and more difficult over time. Everyone would be in the market for them, and we want to make sure that Deriv stays at the frontier, get the right best talent in. At the same time, we also make sure that we are very aligned from the top in terms of the kind of future, the kind of company we want to build. And then we kickstarted a round of a lot of workshops, internal training sessions, free courses, access to all the tools. We basically made AI everywhere, right? As you can see the background that I have, automate everything. That is the motto we have. We basically have T-shirts printed like this. We have it on our walls. We have it playing on our TV screens, right? So it's basically trying to say the same thing again and again and again, so that we bring in that synergy, we bring in that alignment within the company, and then it becomes easier as we make progress with the projects. The moment people start seeing the progress, everyone starts getting on board and behind the idea, right? And that's what we saw. For example, one of the first success stories we had was through our Amy, which was our customer chat bot, which is already handling like almost 75% of the incoming chats, and it's doing that with almost 98% customer satisfaction rating, right? So it's amazing what you can do with that. And again, it's not just about automating chats. You can improve that AI experience to make it personalized for every client, because AI would basically know everything. It knows your likes, your dislikes, it knows your history, it knows what channel of communication you prefer, it knows what language you prefer to communicate with. So you basically get better coverage, you get better quality, you get happier, a better service. And as we do that, I think the cultural shift becomes easier, because people everyone starts seeing the benefits. And I think that's what we have been doing for the last 6 to 7 months. We have had success there. We have had success in our security teams, because again, one of the first use cases for AI was for the bad guys. you know Everyone could use an AI tool to try to create some kind of a hacking code, because you can so to fight that, you actually need AI on your side. So security is a prime example. You could have AI run 24/7 on your servers, on your platforms, monitoring, logging, monitoring the logs, identifying trends, patterns, right? Same with all the operations, because for example, fintech is an operational heavy industry. You have hundreds of thousands of clients, you have regulations all over the world, you have to cater to all kinds of reports and accounting and KYC. Uh, if you could automate all this, imagine if you are a client and you go to a traditional financial institution, you go to a bank where they give you a form to sign up. I'm sure most of the banks still do that, right? And they make you stand in the queue, uh, and then you submit it, and maybe after a week they will send you an update saying yes, your KYC verified, right? Versus an AI world where most of the neobanks or fintech companies now, you upload your selfie, it verifies your address through GPS or something, you get instantly verified. So we already, you can see this benefits in operations. It gives you the scale, it gives you the agility. So when that starts happening, there is more and more acceptance to the change, right? Because once you start seeing the benefit, everyone wants to be part of the change, right? And when we do that, at the same time, we have to make sure that we continuously provide everyone with the tools, with the platform, with the projects to work on, with competitions, events, hackathons, so that they can learn and upskill and start using AI. Right. So one of the biggest challenges was first to remove that fear. The fear that if this automates my job, what will I do? Right. And that's a very natural fear you have in every team, every company. You know, is having the same discussion. If AI automates what I'm doing, what will I do next? Right. And what we realized is that this is not going to be a zero sum game. Right. Companies who do this well, there will be massive scaling opportunities. There will be 5x, 10x, 100x opportunities. So as AI does my job, I get to spend that time on thinking about something else and starting something else, maybe a new idea, maybe a new company, maybe a new vertical, maybe go to a new segment. And that is another, uh, we that's something we continue to repeat too in terms of communication, because that fear factor has to be removed, because otherwise you will never embrace this new technology, because you will always see this as the other guy, the other woman who's going to take away what you love, right? And that's where it has to be very important to make sure that the growth there has to be growth. Otherwise it becomes a zero sum game, and that's where it becomes very difficult to sustain businesses and teams.
So,
So
Rakshit,
yeah.
as I'm listening to, from the perspective of you as an individual and the organization, it seems to me that the answer is just building a constant innovation engine, right? And the constant learning, looking out multiple months ahead is a great way to think about, how do I innovate, where do I innovate? And the second part of it is that, in your belief, AI is outperforming individuals, right? And I strongly believe that as well. AI is outperforming humans. The models will outperform us. So we do have to be all in on this movement, right? And I'm wondering, how do you see building that movement inside for the next 24 months, right? How does the RIV uh, for the next 24 months, what are the biggest opportunities in product? What are the biggest opportunities in inference, in maybe new trading mechanisms, in new instruments? How, I'm fascinated also to hear your take, about what NASDAQ is doing right now, the New York Stock Exchange, bringing trading 24/7 through tokenizing public companies. Soon enough, regulators will introduce the ability to have 24/7 trading for real world assets for private companies. What is your take on that, and how does AI play into that 24 months from now?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think everything you just said is that it's all going to happen, and it's all going to happen over the next 12 to 18 months. Uh, so AI, of course, makes all this possible too. For someone like us, what we see is, as I said before, we want to have that agility of a 20% company, but to have the scale of a big enterprise, which means we would expect to the benefits for us would be to expand into new verticals,
Mhm.
to expand into new business verticals, essentially to be running like five companies like Deriv over the next 2 years, right? To expand into new market segments, to expand into new product segments, and that is exactly what we want. We see how, and that's where we're going to be, right? And because that's what we see AI gives us, that, as you said, that innovation engine, which allows you to continuously build and build fast, right? Build fast, innovate, try it out. If it doesn't work, drop it, move to the next thing. So that whole cycle of going from ideation to going to the market is going to be much faster. It's going to be much quicker. uh, in Small group of teams can independently start running the entire business, or basically businesses will become set of ideas run through AI agents and AI workflows, right? So I think that is what you'll be seeing. And so the companies who actually transition through this period very well, they will get the benefits. They will actually be able to get the upside. They will be able to scale, and there will be massive scales, right? But yes, if you don't do that, for example, then if we stick, or end up staying with the current business and the current size of business, uh, then would we be 1,000-person company? No, of course not, because AI won't allow that, right? So the only choice we have is to have like 10 different businesses like Deriv. And
So,
that's what you'll be seeing. You'll be seeing tokenization of real world assets, stocks. uh, Crypto would be more mainstream.
Mm.
Crypto, plus crypto and AI are just meant for each other. Programmable money and the program, it's it's perfect. Because I don't see an AI calling up a bank and being put on a queue. Because wait, and your time is very precious to us, right? AI is gonna be dealing in crypto, right? So we are already seeing regulation change in crypto over the last 1 year, especially that push from the US government. I think and that's what you'll be seeing. You'll be seeing a lot more innovation, a lot more ideas, real world assets, plus a lot of what we'll be doing, or the world will be doing in 2 years. We don't know right now, right?
mhm.
A lot of these new things will come and will evolve, and companies and businesses will come up with new ideas, or AI would come up with new ideas. Because I think once it has the context, you know, uh, you should be able to just use an agent just to continuously try to innovate and come up with what would be the new product idea. Imagine having that brain power run 24/7, which never gets tired, always keeps throwing new ideas, and you decide and you pick. It's like, I like that, I don't like that, yes, 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 right? And there might be a future where you have your agents, you have your workflows, you decide on an idea, and your army of agents could just start working on that idea, right, while you go and enjoy your weekend, right? So the scale can be massive, and that is what makes it very exciting, right? And for us, that's what where we want to be, to be, as I said, essentially having businesses, 10 different verticals like that in future.
I'm.
So,
Oh, go
so
on. No, you go, Pawel.
yeah. So just to follow up to that, so it seems to me at least, and then correct me if I'm not understanding this correctly. You feel very comfortable competing internally with the teams that are coming up from the market. Yeah, as you said, two people, 5 people, 10-person teams, right? And it seems that these teams are going to go after these new verticals, these new businesses. And at the same time, the RIV as an organization will build internally these completely new tasks, right? So it's not really about, replacing or having new people only. It's also about the way that these people perform. It's almost like they will be, hired to build that internal innovation, deliver that outcome, but they're competing against 2, 5, 10-person teams that are coming up on the market. And the question is, do you think that that's the way that is going to happen? And if there's room for both of these types of teams, the small little chihuahua nibbling on your market, but also you with the big dog in town coming with this new approach. And how do you see that playing out?
uh, you know uh, I really think the cost to like building a new business, a new online business is going to go down to zero in future. You know, all you have to do is point your AI towards say, hey, build me a new TikTok, and it's just gonna go and build that for you, right? So as Elon Musk, for example, has already started Macro Hard, and he says he can actually go and build everything that Microsoft has and make it a purely AI company because software can, you know, cost of building software would actually go down to that. There won't be much cost involved. So you will see a lot more of these, very lean companies, small group of 3, 4, 5 people starting up, and we can actually scale up and start competing with the big boys because they have the software and they can
Mm.
actually, you don't need to hire 5,000 people to actually build the same software the same scale. You can actually do that with 3 people in the garage and AI at your disposal. So that is going to happen. uh, I think for us, that's where what we are saying is we have to then go and build the same thing internally, so that can Deriv be a collection of these small companies? Can we, have 50, 60 smaller groups internally who can then be building these, who can be independent, stay agile, and build products which might compete with even each other or with outside world? Because that competition, internal or external, is not going to make much difference because uh, eventually you'll be out there in the market as a product and you'll be competing against, for example, I really think that in the next 12 months to 18 months you will see a one person unicorn, right? You would see a billion-dollar company which will just
Mm.
be run by one person, right? And that will be very much possible, right? We already have in crypto space, there are companies, there are platforms which, for example, one of the biggest crypto ex- uh, dex exchanges, hyperliquid, it's only run by 10 people, and they compete with basically all the big exchanges, right? So, and with AI you will see a one person unicorn in 12 to 18 months, and that's where the future lies, right? So big companies have to learn how to stay agile. That is going to be the challenge because it's not easy.
That's
Over the
wild.
years, as we grow, you add processes, you just become slow, right? Every company goes through that. Every
So,
company through. Yeah.
so to follow up on that, so that means that ideally, when you get the new teams in, you want to find the people that will build that one person unicorn in the Riv.
Yes, because again, why not have a why not make Deriv a collection of or one, because if you're running a company, you would want the scale, because who doesn't want like the scale, right? You like the scale of
Absolutely.
an enterprise.
Yeah.
uh, but then you'll have to realize that you need to be agile, otherwise you won't survive, right? You won't be able to compete with these very fast uh, s- you know startups which will be scaling up in different domains. So you need both. You need to have that scale and you need to have the agility. So yes, most of the big companies might actually you know would try to do this, set up small independent teams.
I
With that,
still,
oh,
yeah, no, go ahead, man.
well, I
Go
was
ahead.
just going to say, with that in mind, I'm really interested then in roles you are hiring for now, or that perhaps you weren't hiring for 3 years ago. Like, uh, if you've got this in mind, is it shaping and changing the profile of the people that you're looking to employ?
Yeah, absolutely. Because what you also realize is, what right now is not as important as what it used to be 5 years back, for example, because it's more about how much can you learn from here, right? How curious you are, how willing are you to just try new things, because that is exactly what the future is going to be. New, new, new. Everything, every day is new, every week is new, there's so much going on. So it's about finding that kind of a person, so like 5 years back, interviews would be very standard. You look for your competence, you look for what you have done in your past jobs, and suddenly now you're looking more towards what can you do in future, right? Great, you have a great resume, you have been very successful so far, but are you someone who would like to bring along with us on this train, right? And that is different now because In the past, for example, you could make a career out of just one field, one domain, and you could actually start at the age of 20 and retire at 60, 65, doing, just working in one particular domain. That's not going to be the future, right? So you really want to look for those who can adapt, who can learn, who are curious, and who would be wearing that explorer hat. And I keep saying it's like that's the future is. We are all going through this Amazon rainforest and trying to create that path forward, the path which has not been paved before, right? So with a machete in hand, we are cutting down the trees. We hit a block, we come back, we try to create another path. You need that kind of a person now, right? So yeah, anyone who used to work with a very fixed mandate, where job description becomes basically what you end up doing, might not fit in the future, right? For the future that we want to build towards. So with that in mind, again, we've been hiring a lot of AI engineers. Uh, I, uh, I think our average age keeps going down now, because we realized, you know, the young AI engineers are actually, pretty good with what they are doing. Right? Plus, they still have that mindset. They have that, they don't have the baggage. A lot of us who have been working for years now, the more you work, the more experience you have, the more fixated or rigid you become. The more baggage you carry. When you're young and competent and have access to all the tools, you are just more willing to experiment and try new things, and that's what we are trying to see too, right? So more and more young hiring, more and more hiring of AI engineers. I think you end up looking for more generalists because they are the ones who would be able to, rather than specialists in a lot of roles, because AI becomes that specialist, right? In our phones, in our pockets, you already have the best doctor in the world. You already have the best software developer in the world, right? So you don't need, so that specialist thing becomes less important. Are you a generalist? Can you actually work across different dimensions, different domains? So that becomes very important too. So yes, the entire hiring process, who we used to hire, how we used to hire, all that has changed. And yeah, we are hiring more and more young people, and more and more AI engineers from around the world. uh, Also with the mindset that, a lot of what we want to build, we don't know, right? I want to hire the best people, put them together and let them decide also what to build, right?
Mm.
Because that is the real leverage we can have with the right talent.
I'm wondering, as you see the young talent, but also, people that have been in the industry for 20, 30 years, the main quality is the ability to learn, adopt these new
Yeah.
tools, and deploy them, and just constantly add, more tooling, more new technologies to the palette, yeah, to the available, um, I would say tradecraft almost, right?
Hmm.
And I'm wondering, how do you see, the outcome of all of this for your industry, our industry, which is, big international finance? Um, do you see that very quickly that turns into, as you mentioned, AI compliance, execution, bringing revenue on chain, real time, financial infrastructure? I'm wondering, let's say everything that you wish would come true comes true. Yeah. And this amazing new talent pool with the amazing new tools brings us to the land of abundance. uh, how does that look like, from your perspective, as a leader of one of the biggest trading platforms on the planet? Because you actually have the power to make that impact.
Yeah. uh, from company perspective, from the industry perspective, I think the future, the only moat that would be left would be speed. uh, Companies won't have any other moat left, because your expertise, your knowledge and all that, you know won't be worth much, because AI kind of takes that handles that very well. So yes, speed has to be the mode. So for us, that's what the future should look like: speed in everything, in execution, in trying to do everything, and operations should be automated. So from the customer side, I think the future of trading, for example, would be very different. Every customer would be expecting very personalized, very personalized experience, right? In terms of personalized education, personalized uh, onboarding, personalized interaction with the platform, might even be able to have a personalized interface. It's very much possible where you could basically go and tweak your own interface based on what you like. So I think that's what you'll be saying. The awareness in this industry would be of choice. There'll be a lot of choice for the customer. There'll be a lot of freedom for the customer to do what he or she wants. And you would essentially see a world where you would essentially anyways have agents trading on your behalf. So you would have agents speaking to agents and APIs talking to APIs. So UI won't matter. It will be as Eric Smith used to say, there will be an end of UI in future. Right, and I think right now a lot of trading is still around the website and the UI, and how a lot of discussions on convergence are all about the right CTAs, the right colors. But in future it will mostly be all automated. While you sleep, your agent, your bot is trying to maximize your positions, connecting to our API and trading. So I think that's what you'll be seeing in future, and that's the future that how this industry would be. With everything on chain, money transfer through AI would be much easier too, right? So you essentially have your agents essentially running your portfolios, and they would be deciding, should I spend this money? How much of my portfolio should be on Deriv versus on something else? How much of this should be on Forex versus stocks versus crypto? Should I actually buy gold because everyone else is doing it? Should I actually buy silver? When should I sell it? It should be doing it for you while you just sip a drink on the beach. So I think that is going to be the future, and that is abundance, because while you go and enjoy your time off, right? These agents are working in the background trying to do some things for you, which would have otherwise kept you on your desk busy for hours, right? Now you can actually do other things, right? So
I think that's a fascinating future to look forward, and it creates, that universal basic ownership idea, right? Where everybody has, access to these financial instruments, and they set the comfort level. The AI has the context of, my expenses. It has the context of my income, and it creates the situation where I, with a specific, degree of comfort and risk, take the right actions, right? And the way to, one of the things that you mentioned about the UX and the UI, I would love to have another conversation in the future about it. I think that's a fascinating component. As we're building tokenization, and as we're building, these new asset classes, because these are completely new asset classes. In our case, private AI companies, right? And that we want to, connect with platforms like Deriv as well, right? So I would love to get your take, so we build the right, interface of the future, and it should be seamless between the different types of platforms as well, right? You should be able to do that. So as we're taking that, move forward, and we want to move very, very fast, like you said, speed is the only mode. One of the things that we'll be doing together in the coming weeks is we'll be hosting a massive event for the developers globally and in Dubai, right? So maybe you could tell people a little bit about the inspiration about, running hackathons, running development sprints to find the top global talent. Why do you think that is a good way to do it? What it brings out in people. I have my view on this. I think you can check exactly how fast they move, how they solve problems, and whether they can build a one-person unicorn that can live on its own or inside the Deriv, right? That's the dream, to find this level of talent. So, uh, like from this perspective, why do you think these are, mechanisms that find top tier people?
Yeah, I think these are very good filters, right? First of all, you attract. You already see those who are very curious. You
Mhm.
already see those who go out of the way, out of the comfort, want to spend basically a weekend competing with others, coding or trying to build something, right? Rather than spending a weekend on a couch watching Netflix, you actually get a pool of people who would like to go on a weekend, spend the night somewhere with strangers, compete against them, work in teams, work in a high pressure environment. Trying to compete in that 12-hour window or a 15-hour window, and as you said, you see everyone else making progress while you are stuck, and then you make some progress. It's not easy. It's a very high pressure environment, right? It's like every time you have done competitive sport, you see that, it's like it's easy when I'm playing tennis, for example, but the moment there were like five people outside watching me, and suddenly my game used to change because now I'm like, oh my god, they're watching me, right? Uh, Now here you're competing with like 500 people sitting in a room, 12-hour window, so that pressure, uh, you already want to do more than everyone else. That's why you are there. That's why you are actually on that weekend trying to do something rather than watching Netflix, right? You are the curious kind mind, and then so yes, you already get the right group together, and then when you actually see the progress, you see how they who has done well, who has who's you basically get to select, and you get an insight into who the best talent is in that in that region, for example, right? And it's a great opportunity also for them to see Deriv, because they get to see what Deriv is. you know the hackathons could be in our offices. They get to see our office space. They get to see our employees. They get to work on problems which are around this industry, right? So they get to know what kind of challenges lie in front of them, if Deriv interests them. So
Could I
it's also a good exercise for them to see Deriv, right? And to position Deriv right in the frontier for in that community.
so what
So
kind of
yeah.
Can you give us an example of, like you said, what are the challenges? Can you give us, maybe two examples of, what will people be facing? Let's invite people to participate by giving them, the real difficult problems, right? What would we like people to solve?
I think problems which make up for different uh, different verticals or different domains in a fintech company, right? There could be a
Mhm,
problem around digital marketing to solve, because I
mhm,
believe something like paid campaigns can be fully solved using AI, right?
mhm.
Because running online ads is essentially is mathematically, because again, going back to my quant background, it's just an optimization problem, right? As long as you kind of have you know all the funnels, you know all the details, you just have to optimize where to spend how much to get the maximum returns for your business, right? So it could be problems around marketing, digital marketing. There could be problems, for example, a very good use case could be, imagine you have an AI agent which keeps tracking all the real world events, and then uses that to decide what should go out on the social media channels of a company, right? And then picks those events, goes to another agent which kind of converts that into nice creatives. For example, if you want to do a Insta post versus a Twitter post versus a TikTok post, these are all different formats. But with AI can do that. AI can actually create a video for TikTok and a post for Twitter with a chart and something for Insta, all on almost real time basis. And then that could be handed over to a social media agent, which could then pick that and go and make those postings, right? So many more use cases like this, which are practical use cases, which can actually help businesses, and which already exist, or definitely will be what companies will be doing in future.
Very nice. So effectively, to invite people to come to the event, we're saying that Deriv is looking to hire the top tier global talent in AI, right? The
Yeah.
top innovation problem solvers, entrepreneurs, that have
Yeah.
the skill to build the future. And effectively, this means that they'll be joining a team that has the same mindset. Yeah.
Yes.
And you're saying, if you can do this, we will hire you. We will give you a great job, an amazing opportunity, and we will support you to get to a result that makes you happy.
Yeah, because that's what we can do as a company. Give you access to all the latest tools, all the latest technologies. Give you, access to you. You get to work with, I think amazing colleagues, and then work on challenging problems, and then decide which direction to move towards in future. And because that's also will be in the hand of employees, right? They will be deciding what they would be building over the next 12 months.
I love this. When exactly is it happening? And I guess there's a whole load of people that are watching this that might be really interested or might tune in afterwards. Where should they go if they want to participate and apply and explore roles and collaborate? And there's lots of things that people will be thinking about this, but what's the next step that people could take to get involved?
Yeah. So from our side, we already you can go to deriv.com/careers, and there you would be actually seeing the link for this. And I believe, Pawel, you
Yeah,
guys also have your own links.
yeah, for the hackathon, just go to lablab.ai, and the event is happening on the 6th of February, so you have to sign up before that, and it's going to take 48 hours, so when you finish at the 8th of February, 72 hours. We're going to have a physical event in the Deriv office in Dubai, which is lovely, and there's a big prize pool, and obviously the career opportunity, so you can actually go in and join a company that is building the future of finance with the best partners, like LabLab, natively, Surge, and we can talk to you there physically, or you can join us online on our Discord server. Basically, all of the career links will be there. Also, the hiring team from Deriv will be there. Also, very importantly, the top tier engineering talent from Deriv will be participating together with the hackathon participants, and they'll be actually talking to you about your skill set, talking to you about your future path, really extending their insight on the technical side of how to build product to you as engineers and to scientists and entrepreneurs, for you to have a really good understanding who you will be working with. I think it's a completely innovative way to build ecosystems, right? Where we bring engineers who are focused on solving problems, we bring subject matter expertise that are focused on solving problems, and we really take the time, as you said, over the weekend. You commit your team and your resources, and the engineers and the people that are looking to get new opportunities commit their time, their effort, right? And it is a much closer relationship. It's not a dry 10-minute interview. Nobody will ask to look at your CV. Yeah, as long as we will ask to look at your GitHub. So be very clear. Yeah, like there's this amazing joke that I've heard from a friend of mine that owns a big IT service company, and he basically says, somebody's asking, can you send me their CV? And he said to the HR team, he said, like, what would I care about their CV? Show me their GitHub. And I think that's what we will experience in the next few weeks at the Deriv office and globally.
Amazing. And I saw that we've had the link pop up there across the bottom for people who want to apply to come along to that AI meetup on the 31st. Well, look, I think That kind of concludes some of the questions I think we've taken the time to prepare. I know that there have been a couple of questions that have been dropped in the comments. So if you're okay, Rakshit, I want to ask you them. And actually, Pawel, you may want to follow up as well and answer the questions well, because I think they're very, very interesting. One here that really struck with me, I thought was a great question, came in. Most AI assistants today depend heavily on cloud APIs and feel quite generic. Do you believe there is a future for offline first, culturally localized AI companions built for specific regions, like India, for example? And what would it take for such a product to scale globally? I thought that was a really interesting question.
Yeah, that's actually is an interesting question. I think that's the first time I've seen a question like that.
Same.
I think, is it possible? Yes. I think the problem would be in terms of it's about, does it make sense for a company or to actually do something like that, because that is something we have to see. But offline, it might actually work. We might move. I think in the next few years, one biggest change you will see is you will start seeing a lot of hardware out there, right? So that's people outside the tech space usually are still not very much into. They don't still see the impact or the changes that AI is already bringing to their life, because when it is a software, it's a bit different. It doesn't feel the same to you, because you're used to using something on the phone and you don't think too much about it. But the moment you start seeing those robots, on the road, on the streets, in your car, in your house, and a lot of that could actually, it could actually work offline. I do see a future of that, and that could be a market. Yeah.
What do you think, Pawel? Do you think that's the kind of thing that has a future? The kind of like localized, localized.
I definitely think that we will move a lot of the compute inference to the edge, right? And that will mean that you will have your personal capacity to run your own AI systems, right? And it does trickle down to also security, and it does trickle down to also your personal interest in terms of, does the AI act on your behalf, right? Whereas, the Deriv AI might act in my best interest to create, the maximum outcome for me on trading, in the future. I would be less likely to trust the insurance company AI to give me the best care, because I'd rather have my own personal health AI, right? And that will move these activities on the application layer to the edge. Whereas, the big boom, the big obvious boom is applied AI. So means AI in robotics, AI in edge devices, AI on the factory floor, which I think people are underestimating the opportunity is what kind of data it can create for the financial ecosystem and what kind of real world asset products it will create for the financial ecosystem. Because let's say we have 1 million robots running around in India in the next 24 months, right? That creates trading opportunities for futures for robot lease returns. Yeah, you could create whole markets or financial products that are specifically designed to offset the cost of robots in factories by creating a data stream for future production delivery. Yeah, this may apply to public companies or private companies. So I think there needs to be capacity in the industry to think about these products. Yeah, and that's going to be a huge opportunity that a lot of people are not talking about yet.
Yeah, I love that. Another question that's coming. In fact, there were a couple about security. The one that I really liked here was from Choudhary Baradka. And asking if it's the right forum to ask. As AI adoption is increasing, how do you see the security landscape evolving? And are there any new risk categories evolving from traditional ones? and how important will AI-driven security be? How important is it already, and what are you guys working on regarding that?
I think it's already very important. Security was one of the first verticals which started getting very disrupted with AI, right? From both sides, from those who do not have the right intentions. It really empowers them, to start building super powerful tools. You don't have to be an expert hacker now to actually build something which can, go and fish other people, or could actually go and try to infiltrate a company, or some government database or something, right? So, and then for the companies, that you need AI on your side too as a defense. Also, security is important because AI fits very well, because yes, everything is going to be 24/7, right? So it's not, your servers are not running only when your employees are in office. Your business is running 24/7, 365 days a year, and you need something. You need the security cop, which should be up and running 24/7. Which doesn't take days off, no vacations, no weekends, right? So it's already very useful in security, and I think security is one field which will continue both sides. You know, in terms of defending a company, there will be a lot more activity. There will be a lot more improvements. It will become it will become more and more automated. uh, and then from the attacking side again, because it empowers that side a lot more, because while you're defending, you can get it right 999 times, but that one breach
Mm.
is and that's it, right? But that's why on the attacking side it allows, because it gives you speed, right? AI gives speed, which means if you are trying to build something, you can just continue building more and more attacking agents, right? And then hoping that one of them succeed in their in what you want to do, right? So it's actually very scary for security, but I think that's why the future is. Companies will be investing a lot more in strengthening the security and bringing AI into this, because the other side already is doing that. And speed hurts in this for security. Speed is something which actually will hurt companies, because speed acts in the on the favor of those trying to build tools to attack you, because they can iterate and build fast and just build more and more and more and more tools, because they only have to get one goal past you, while you have to continue defending everything.
Amazing. Well, look, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. I think it's been absolutely fantastic getting to know you, Rakshit, and what you're doing at Deriv. I think it's really, really exciting, and I can't wait to continue to watch. I don't know. I want to say personally, thank you very much, and great to meet you, Pawel. I don't know if you wanted to close out just with a quick exchange with Rakshit, but also just maybe back to the hackathon piece, just to make sure everyone has got some clear information about that. And I'll say thank you to everyone for tuning in today as well.
Yep. Thank you very much, Rakshit, and thank you for the whole Deriv team as well. Yeah, I think it was an amazing session with a lot of insights, right? And having this privilege to speak with people that run the top tier of the financial industry is very important. It's very important for the individuals that want to participate and join the movement. And it's very important also, I think, for the industry to understand that there is a specific mentality needed to win in this industry, right? And in order to do that, I think and hope that we all think very much in the same core value set as we discussed during the show. So I really appreciate your time. I invite everybody to join LabLab.ai to visit the hackathon and use the time to build the next unicorn and build it inside the Deriv as well. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining. It was a pleasure to have you, and I really hope we get to do this maybe in a few months and see how the new interface layer is being implemented and discuss that a little bit deeper.
Yes, sure. Thanks, Pawel. Thanks, Benjamin. It was actually fun talking to you guys. I didn't realize we were already like
It
1
flew
hour and
by,
15
didn't it?
minutes into this.
So
Yeah,
bad.
because I could just go on and on and on, and especially around AI. Otherwise, for everyone else, as Pawel mentioned, please do join the Deriv's hackathon. It's a good way to, for everyone to also see what Deriv is, uh, uh, what it stands for, and and to to get an opportunity to actually, you know, compete with others who are pretty good in this field too, and do well there. Right? Otherwise, I think the future is, as I said, very exciting, a bit scary, but that's what makes it fun, right? And I think the next 12 months, next 24 months for most of the companies out there is going to be massive.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you
Absolutely.
guys. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Appreciate everyone that tuned in, and we'll see you again for another episode in the future. Thanks ever so much, everyone. Take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.